who we are,
Whose
Skinner.
voice is speaking?
They know who we are. Well, this just look at that. Just to briefly give you some insight. My name is Gabe. Hi, everybody. Illogic's here, and I got my partner with me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it. I'm going to say
You're
it.
going to do some work here. We're paying you for a reason, folks.
What's going on, everybody? Mike Skinner here, aka First to 20, and I am happy to be joining my balded brethren, Gabe, the one and only, as we bring you some amazing Lorcana broadcasting today and an amazing event here, a 15 case event for charity. So not only an amazing event, but a great cause. So, and we also have some, well, not surprises, but some celebrity, if you will, guest commentators here with us today. Very, very wonderful Dan from the Forbidden Mountain, as well as Liam from the Illumineers. So incredibly excited to be here with them. And yeah, it's going to be a great day. And as we see here, Hector getting the first table here today, since Hector, you know, he did have a wonderful performance at the recent Charlie's Collectible show. He went ahead and won that event. So we're going to go ahead and see what Hector's doing today as we put him on the first table here to get us started for today.
Yeah, and at the moment you're probably noticing some different names. Don't worry, we're kicking in here. We're getting stuff in there. You're watching the stream change and morph and evolve live here. Hector is currently running the list that he actually won with, and the reason why he's on this table in the first place is because Hector, our hero here at Southside Gaming, this man went all the way to Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Yeah, he did,
and he came back a winner of the CCS of Charlie's Collectible Show. Really proud of Hector. And so, of course, we had to put a little bit of pressure on Hector. We said, hey, Hector, guess what, bud? You get to be our first feature game.
Absolutely. And for those I've noticed in the chat, I see these beautiful Cusco playmats. So shout out to Ray, who is one of SSG's own. He plays on SSG's team and a wonderful friend of ours down here in the Lorcana community of South Florida. Drew up this incredible mat, and then Mattified, which you can find online, another great person who helped us add some finishing touches here. As you can see, the little glowing and things like that on the foiling of the mat. So think it came out beautiful. And if you haven't already seen the promos that we're giving out today, they are absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure we'll be showing them in between rounds. And if not, you can catch them. I did post them on my Twitter at First to 20.
Yep.
So you could check them out there. But if you don't want to do all that, that's totally cool. We will be showing them to you. So they are beautiful, and you're going to love the way they look.
Absolutely, I love that. Yes, and you can also find, as Skinner pointed out, you can see those Cusco cards, those Cusco arts from Peter Raimundo on his social media. First to 20, you can see it on mine as well at Illogics.
Very nice. I didn't know you grabbed one too. I'm sorry, but I would have plugged you in there.
No, that's fine.
I would have plugged you. I didn't notice your cable was, in the controller, like when you're a little kid and you unplug your brother's controller.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were unplugged.
Well, I just want you to know you're showing your age, and that probably applies to like 5 people on chat right now.
Got you.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
kind of an old person thing to say,
Right.
Skinner, but that's okay. We still love you.
Fortnite.
Thank you. Let's talk more about that. But let's talk about the fact that Hector is playing the build that we know that he's playing. He's playing Sharknado. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
he's playing Sharknado.
He's definitely playing Sharknado, and he, but with the signature sleeves that he loves to play, they're not Disney affiliated. Hector, shame on you, but Hector says that these are his lucky sleeves. For those of you who don't know Hector, he only uses these sleeves, and I believe he's bought out Dragon Shield's entire inventory. So
he has, yes.
He's on a constant hunt to make sure he never runs out of these sleeves. So I see he's bringing a little luck with him today for sure.
Absolutely. And what we see, so we have Beefybaby over here who's playing what we know is Amber Emerald. Now, whether or not it is going to be a Chernadog build or a discard build is yet to be seen.
I'm sorry to laugh. I'm reading JDZ's comment. He says, "Yo, I hope Hector gets rolled."
Yeah, listen, we're supposed to be a little bit partial to Hector being that it's an SSG stream, but I'm sorry. I want to see Chernadogs make. I mean, let's be real here. Come on.
Oh yeah, no, great. It would be quite amazing. But
yeah.
I just thought it was a funny comment. So what's up, JDZ? Thanks for joining us today. I hope your broadcast goes well as well. I know you're working on an event. So, if you want to go catch JDZ on their stream as well, I'm sure he'll be doing his thing. So much love to JDZ. But for those of you joining us, we see Hector going ahead and putting out a coil. And that's going to be pretty problematic here for Beefybaby because, coil just able to shrink anything. I mean, most of Beefybaby's threats are in the lower range. We see a lot of Prince Johns and things like that. But obviously, coil just going to be able to continue to shrink. Yeah. And make things difficult for Beefybaby here.
Yeah, and what we see here is the epic duo, Lady and the Tramp, now both together as everyone intends, as intended by the story, they are together.
Absolutely. And we just need a spaghetti dinner, and that's
yeah,
all we will
if
be
we
good
can
to
get
go.
ourselves a spaghetti dinner, we're pretty much halfway to the movie here. But what we're seeing is a game plan of just keeping consistent heat onto the table.
Absolutely.
It's clear now. The indication is that this is in fact a Chernodog deck. There's no question about it.
Yep.
We'd be seeing other cards in these slots, but here we are. We do have Chernodog and we have Sharknado going up against each other.
Yeah, so I mean, here Beefybaby's going to want to try to just get in as fast as possible, right? She just needs to, try to get as many characters on board before the inevitable Sisu, and we see Sisu's smaller form already kind of coming in and causing some trouble here. But the big card here for Hector is definitely going to be 8-drop Sisu, who is able to just come down and pretty much take care of any threat that will be presented here. However, Beefybaby's able to get down quick enough and get her characters and her her dogs going. Or if she gets Sisu'd, she has an option to summon a demon, if you will, as the Chernobog comes down. Yeah, well, that they call it the Chernodog for a reason. And you see Ursula going ahead and sniping a Be Prepared, which is really great. She gets some knowledge also of the hand, so she knows there's no Sisu quite yet, and getting rid of a board wipe, which we know Hector's going to be looking for quite soon.
I mean, it's difficult here because the game plan when you're playing as Ruby Sapphire is you want to be able to manage the board. You know that your opponent, there's a little bit of bleeding that happens when you're playing as Ruby Sapphire. You're going to let your opponent get to a certain point before you're actually able to start locking this game down. And so when you're playing against Chernodog, what's very difficult here is you have to balance both because it can turn sideways really, really quick here for Ruby Sapphire.
For sure.
So do we ramp? Or do we focus on playing cards like Sisu? And right now what we're seeing is that Hector's kind of choosing the more defensive line. It's still relatively fair.
Right.
Hector hasn't really ramped that impressively here.
Yeah, he's just setting up.
Down.
He's just putting the machine together. He's just trying to get to the cards he needs to. Obviously playing a Grandma Tala here, getting a peek at 2 more. Just trying to, slowly craft his hand and craft the game plan. And that's what makes this deck so powerful. It's just able to dig through its deck and just find what it needs in every matchup. And I think that's a big testament to the consistency of this deck. You have cards like Hiram and cards like How Far I'll Go and Tala, which are able to just dig through the deck, and in whatever scenario you are, you can kind of fish what you need for it. So obviously Hector here just trying to find something to keep the board stabilized. Doesn't want to get too far behind, but so far looks like Hector is just about keeping up with the Chernodog deck.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, looking at Beefybaby's side of the table here, the ideal plan, the ideal game plan here would be to just go as fast as you can, right? Like you're trying to get to as much ink or as much lore pressure as you can before Ruby Sapphire starts to kind of go back in time. We start playing cards like A Pirate's Life, and we start warping the board state, start going backwards in time to a place where Hector would feel more comfortable with potentially a 12 lore count on Beefybaby's side versus 16 or 17, kind of close to that point.
For sure. And Beefybaby playing an Yzma here, which will allow her to draw a card and discard a card, which, while discarding a card may not always feel great, in this deck, it's actually wonderful because she's able to maybe use it later for a Chernobog, to reduce the cost. Or if it's a Lilo, Lilo can come back from the discard as well. So a very, very good card for this deck. And we see her slam 2 more Merfolks in play. So she's going full, as crazy as she can here. And there is a lot of lore. 2, 4, 6, 5, 6, 7 lore. No, sorry, I can't count. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 lore. So that would be quite a significant amount of lore next turn if Hector's not able to do some cleaning up here.
Yeah, certainly. And that's got to be on the mind of Hector right now. Hector's kind of taking a look at the board state. He's in the tank right now, looking at the options. We do see he has a Brawl in hand. But choosing this, seeing How Far I'll Go, getting himself some more options.
Yep.
And I believe we saw the namesake of the deck, Skinner. I think we saw it. I think it might be my Maui Half Shark time.
If it's Shark time, it could get quite tricky really quickly. We did see him ink A Pirate's Life earlier, so that's one of the key cards that we're going to be trying to combo with the Shark in order to, keep this game from getting a little too crazy, keep that lore gain a little down. Very reminiscent of set 1. For those of you who are here for set 1 and remember how treacherous it was to play against the Aladdin, who every time he'd come down, he would take 2 lore from you, he'd gain 2 lore. He'd take 2 lore from you, he'd gain 2 lore. And that's very similar to what Pirate's Life does, in terms of just keeping the game out of reach for your opponents. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly the same vibes here, except you get to sing it with multiple characters if you want.
Yep,
versus
absolutely.
relying on the one character at 7 costs.
Very tricky. And one of the few sing together cards that actually ended up being there are a few that are playable, but yeah, definitely the most played.
And
as
Hector
we see
playing that
Sisu.
Sisu to try to reduce some of that pressure that is waiting for him on the other end of this turn. When he says go, there's a lot of pain waiting for Hector, and Hector's trying to reduce that pain, trying to minimize the bleeding.
Hector has to discard a card here, and I'm hoping he's thinking about which one, because he definitely should have discarded a card.
Wait, what do you mean? No, and
Sisu attacked into one of them.
Oh, it did. I'm sorry. I was too busy.
Yeah, he is thinking about which card to pitch. Yes, actually, there it is. Yeah, I figured Hector wouldn't miss something like that, but just wanted to make sure we're keeping the integrity of the game here.
Yes,
and we do have some incredible DLC judges here joining us as well, just like our last event. So we have just an absolutely awesome staff working this event today. So we're hoping to keep it smooth for you. I know it's going to be a lot of rounds, which we haven't really got into. I guess we could talk about that while we wait here. It is 8 rounds today for this event. It is a 15 case tournament. There are bounties, there are giveaways, there are side events. Peter Raimundo is here doing autographs and doing commissions and things like that. Just everything going on here today. Yeah. So SSG, definitely the place to be. And thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Yeah, I actually saw Peter. He was over there, and he was drawing or painting and drawing on a Funko Pop of Stitch. And it was Stitch wearing white fluffy bunny ears. I was like, who commissioned this, and can I pay them to take this from them?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and for those of you who don't know Peter Raimundo, Disney legend, very classic animator, worked on Lilo and Stitch. That's probably his pride and joy. So very happy to have him here today. And wait till you guys see the top 8 cards. I know I keep talking about them, but they are so nice. So you're gonna love to see them. As we do see Beefybaby goes ahead and turns them sideways. She plays herself the Rapunzel. As she goes up to 11, and unfortunately Hector's ink, we're getting up there. We're starting to get to the kind of scary, treacherous territories here. So I'm sure Beefybaby just trying to close the door before it gets too late.
Absolutely. And Kylie, I see you in the chat. Kylie's asking me to tell Dan from the Forbidden Mountain to do the right thing and commission a super goof. Kylie, I got your back.
Do the right thing. Don't mess that up. All right, so we see Tala just cleaning up, doing a little cleaning, as some grandmothers do, cleaning up the house a bit. Oh goodness, that is a shark, as you mentioned earlier. So we are officially entering Shark Week here, as Hector puts down what might be a very difficult threat for that to be handled here. I don't know of many evasive ways for Turnadog to get rid of this shark. This is one of the weaknesses of the deck, in my opinion. If you're not able to get there fast enough, we really don't have a great answer. I mean, obviously Beefybaby could be playing something that I don't know.
Correct.
But based on what I've seen from some of the other Turnadog lists, the evasives can be quite problematic if they stick.
Yeah. Generally speaking, on average, the right thing to do here is just to apply so much pressure in reverse to force Hector into force Hector into causing a board wipe of some kind that doesn't trigger Sisu. Maybe a be prepared. That's like an ideal situation, but there's not a whole lot of answers. Barring kind of what we're seeing here, maybe some body blocking, but that doesn't stop Hector from attacking that bodyguard, from grabbing an action like a brawl or a pirate's life, and to continue the onslaught. Beefybaby is at 16 lore right now, with lethal on board. The thing about Ruby Sapphire, though, is not really.
Right. And we do see that Donald Duck coming down to protect everybody else on the board here, and that might be a little problematic, except that Tala can clear it. Unfortunately, if it was just a little Sisu's and the shark, it would have been a really great bodyguard there. But considering we have a Tala to clean it up pretty quickly, and we can ink Sapphire Coil it, so the Tala won't even banish. So it's kind of difficult, but still putting Hector in quite the predicament here. Hector does have the option to get back that Be Prepared if he so chooses out of the discard if he's really, really in trouble. I'm sure he would rather not have to do that and lose his shark, but it's something that he may have to consider here, because 16 is very close to 20.
Yeah, and 20 is exactly what it is. No, more than that. I'm sorry, but 20 is within striking distance. We are on what they call a one-turn clock here.
But he has a lot of options.
He has, yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's, and I believe that both players are fully aware that that's the case.
Absolutely. He doesn't have that Pirate's Life in the discard. I'm sure he was wishing he did, because that would really help him in this situation. Kind of pull back a little bit on the lore.
He does have Vision of the Future, though, so he could go get it if he needed to.
Is it Visions in his hand? I see how far I'll go in the discard. Oh, but he has Visions in his hand. You You saw the future. You had the
I
vision in
saw
your
the
brain.
future. The glasses are strong, my friend. I can see into the future.
I totally missed that. Yeah, so he definitely does have the vision. I'm so sorry about that. I was looking at the discard, not at his hands. So we do see a big Sisu, and that is definitely going to be tempting. He's flicking between the Medusa and the Sisu.
Yeah.
He just brought another card to the
The
front. What
difficulty
else?
here, of course, being that if he doesn't get the Sisu now, the Sisu has to go under the deck, and will he see another one
Right,
in
right.
time? And so that's important here.
Of course, definitely something to consider. Not only are you picking a card, but you're essentially choosing what cards you're probably not going to see again.
Yeah,
which something
absolutely.
that needs to be considered for sure. And I'm pretty sure he picked the big Sisu. He did a little bit of flicking around, so I didn't quite see, but he is cleaning up the board here as we see.
Yep.
Shark will go ahead and eat up the Rapunzel, so she will go to the discard, and he will go ahead and get back a card, rather a action from his discard pile. Which he will be able to use and gain a lore. So the machine slowly oiling up here, as we see. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of this deck today, and just a well-crafted machine, if you will. Once it sets up and everything the cogs start to turn, everything starts to move. It's pretty hard to stop the machine. So Hector getting pretty close to turning this machine on.
Absolutely, and grabbing something that will allow him to dig some more. Choosing to do that, which will net Hector another lore because of that Maui half shark, and looking for more answers, digging for more answers as he continues to move forward here.
For sure, and
we see that because of that ink, Hector indicating that Isma is the target of that sapphire coil.
For sure.
Yep, and properly giving himself the ink, and then choosing to say goodbye, to banish that Isma, sending her on her way outside of the village of Sharknado.
Absolutely, and just being able to shrink her, right, with this sapphire coil. I know a lot of people, think about coil with Sisu or coil with, Medusa, but just being able to shrink it and for combat damage, being able to attack with these two baby Sisus in there and just keep them both alive is incredibly beneficial as we wind down here to 17 lore. Chernadog does have a couple ways to get some jumping lore, like we did see the Donald. I've also seen some other builds playing a couple cards here and there that may give him some reach, but Hector just slowly cleaning up the board here as he continues to assemble his Infinity Stones, if you will.
Yep, and grabbing a vision, which can certainly be dangerous, especially if we can start grabbing things like a pirate's life. And there is the Sisu to say goodbye to our friend.
It's rare to see Sisu, only take out one character in the Chernadog matchup, right? I mean, Hector's just been doing such a good job of trying to clean up the board every turn. And he, there's a testament to that. I mean, this Sisu only took out one character. Beefybaby is just holding her fingers at the moment. No cards in hand, so she is at the mercy of this deck at the moment.
Yeah,
and
it is in fact Shark Week here.
Yeah, it is definitely looking a little dicey here. So now we start to see what the deck does. We start slowly climbing up in lore, even though we were just kind of dwindling at the beginning. So it's going to be interesting to see if Beefybaby is able to draw something that can stick here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see a Nala. All right, we love it. We see a Nala. That's another potential lore for Beefybaby. Not the best card that she could be seeing in her deck right now.
Sure.
And certainly Hector. The whole point of Ruby Sapphire is to deal with cards like this,
right,
with low strength.
Sure.
And potentially high defense as well. So we'll see if it works out for her. Hector, of course, turning a lot of ink sideways. And if it wasn't Shark Week before, we've got two now.
Yeah, we are definitely in open waters at the moment. As Hector adds another shark to the table, and we just have a lot of lore incoming. And every time he plays an action at this point, he's going to be gaining two, one for each shark here. So that just makes literally any action you play into a gathering knowledge and wisdom, Gabe. That's like, look at this. So we have a Let It Go, which not only will remove the card, it should have gone to the inkwell. But they're fixing it right now. We have great judging staff on duty. So gaining two lore, sending Nala into the inkwell, and this game is just about wrapped up here.
Yeah, absolutely. And really what we need to be thinking about is going into this potential turn two, what the plan will be. But certainly this game is not over, though. Beefybaby is still trying to fight that fight.
As JDZ mentioned, go off the tizzy would be quite crazy.
Yeah, that would be wild.
I don't know if she's playing any, but I know a lot of Chernadog decks are playing a couple of go-go's, so that would have definitely been a dream crusher for Hector. But Hector holds on to it and takes game one here against Beefybaby.
Absolutely, yes. And so, that means that Beefybaby will get to go first. which is
Sure.
a prime spot to be in. It is prime real estate, is to be able to be on the play here, because
Absolutely.
going first and being in a relatively aggressive deck, just a beautiful combination.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to see if Beefybaby can claw back in game 2, even the odds out here, and potentially go into a game 3 that just is able to pop off and to just run through as fast as she can before Hector's able to stabilize the board and kind of stop the game in this weird like time lock situation that tends to happen
For
as
sure.
you get to the later ink counts with Ruby Sapphire.
For sure, for sure. And for those of you just joining us, welcome. We are in round 1 right now of the Southside Gaming in Margate, Florida, 15 case event for charity. The winner of the event will be able to choose a charity of their choice to go ahead and have a part of this proceeds going towards that, which is a beautiful cause. And I know there's been a lot of talk throughout the week over which charities would be donated to if they won. So
yeah,
a really nice cause to see people come up and just see things get this ball rolling here. So
yeah, certainly, and it is interesting to see what the mulligan will look like here. So let's take a look.
okay, so Hector. Okay, Hector. What is Hector looking for here, Gabe? Looking for some ramp, probably, right? Just
Hector,
trying to get ahead quickly.
Hector going on the play is going to need to be able to
on
answer.
the draw. Rather.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, my words are hard. On the draw, Hector needs to stop the potential speed run that Beefybaby is going to be on. So you got to be looking for things like Sisu,
right,
to set you up for a relatively cost-effective big Sisu.
Right.
The ramp would be nice, but I don't know if you can afford to prioritize it. I think it depends on how well of a start that Beefybaby is able to get.
Sure. Yeah, she's looking to hit the ground running, right? As many 1-drops as possible. Just try to go from the left side of that playmat all the way to the right side of the playmat, and hopefully just get enough lore under the table before Hector's able to clean up here. I'm sure Hector looking for baby Sisus here, things that can slowly pick off characters, since baby Sisu's pretty much live versus a majority of the deck. Just being able to pick off these characters with 1 power is going to be very, very beneficial for Hector. And we'll see if Beefybaby is able to grant JDZ his wish and and blow out Hector here for at least 1 round. So we will see how it goes as both players finish up their mulligans here, and let's get it started.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we see a similar start as Beefybaby had from the last game.
Yeah, Lady, I like Lady here. She is a potentially 2 lore threat here if we see Tramp on turn 2 again. And it's just the way you want to start. Obviously, Curse Merfolk was a very huge powerhouse for a long time in the format. Is still pretty good, and she is playing both. But having a 1/2 rather than instead of an 0/1 that can quest for 2 is definitely very, very beneficial.
Oh yeah, and we see Hector making a pretty interesting choice in inking the Sapphire Coil to play that popsicle. I guess deciding either that he's got more than it's clear it is because there was more than 1 of those in the deck,
right? And Coil, obviously he has multiple here, but I don't think Coil is such a huge card in this matchup, particularly just because the deck's kind of already coiling itself, right? The deck, every character is very low power. Obviously, like we mentioned earlier, it can be good for combat, if there's any kind of damage that you want to prevent. But as far as targeting things with Sisu, there's not much help needed there. So
yeah.
And I see the chat. Everybody's cheering on for baby here. As
absolutely,
I think we all are, guys. We would love to see it, but Hector is not gonna, he's not gonna let her age intimidate him. He's gonna play his best. And there's a lot of stake here, so we understand that.
Absolutely,
yeah. So Hector's locked in as well.
He is, and you know what? I just to speak kind of on a personal note here. So Hector has a daughter. And he's actually spoken to me about like his desire, like as she grows up. She's still pretty young. He's excited for the prospect of being able to teach her how to play Lorcana one day. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, so like I have to imagine, like knowing Hector as well as I do, I have to imagine he's kind of seeing some of that here too. And he's got to be really proud to see like just someone so young.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't love this? Such a heartwarming thing to see, people of all age playing this game. We tend to see a lot of adults, Disney adults and stuff like that, TCG pros, all that stuff in the game. So whenever we see somebody who's up and coming, I remember when I started playing, I was just a kid myself. So definitely the future of TCG is here. So that's amazing to see.
Yeah, and Hector, of course, we're seeing a bit of that ramp package coming through. So Hector realizing that the speed is not on is not on Beefybaby's side here.
Right.
And because the speed is not on her side, he can afford to ramp now.
For
and
sure.
He's so choosing to do that.
All right. So Hector going ahead and inking a Visions here. He does get another ink this turn due to sale. So deciding what card he feels comfortable inking. He chooses the Maui. And we're going to spend 3 on a Brawl. So we're going to try to just keep this lore from getting too out of control here as we decide on whether or not, he's going to take out the Merfolk just to have to prevent himself from discarding a card later. That might be kind of, something that's awkward. So just to get rid of it, takes 2 lore off the board here and passes it back over to Baby.
Yeah, certainly. And of course, Baby is not trying to have a repeat of last game. We do see the escape artist Lilo in play now, followed by a Cursed Merfolk. This is Beefybaby's going to be feeling a little bit better.
Sure.
Starting to see that board presence. Hector has still not put a character down. Doesn't not have a little Sisu to shift on top of right now.
Right.
So it's at least 2 turns before Hector will be able to do that. So can we get 7 lore over the next 2 turns? Can we, if she's able to get 14 lore by turning these 5 characters sideways with little to no impediment?
I've seen it.
Then this might be a good game for Beefybaby.
For sure. Lilo should be exerted. Was she played from the discard? She might have been.
No, it was played from hand.
It was played from hand. If it's played from hand, she should be. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was
played from hand.
Yeah. I thought so. All right. So, I know somebody also mentioned no daisies yet. That's a little unfortunate to see. Not something that, you're looking at as a positive when you're playing aggro. You definitely want to be seeing Daisy. She is pretty much the key to a lot of these matchups is just being able to get so much lore in with her effects. But no, unfortunately, no Daisy yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's okay. We see Rapunzel coming down. More characters with 2 lore.
Sure. Unfortunately, not able to get that draw effect off of Rapunzel.
Yep.
Can be kind of tricky in this matchup for her to get use out of that, since Hector's not really going to leave anything ready to exerted to be attacked. And even when he does, they are quite powerful. So it really doesn't leave a lot of damage, unfortunately.
Correct. And Hector is in a position now where he may be forced into a be prepared if he's got it. We're going into turn 7 or ink 7, I should say, for Hector. That is not the range for Sisu.
Right.
And so Hector has to decide, do I let her go one more round with this board?
Yeah, he's thinking about it here. And, if Hector does decide just to hold off and attack with Medusa, he's in danger of this Rapunzel just attacking into his Medusa, and then potentially second Rapunzel could draw a ton of cards.
Yep. Hector valuing the Sharknado, have putting a lot of value on the Maui Half Shark, deciding to play that. I mean, it is a very high value card. If you could start playing those actions, even if you could sing an action with Madame Medusa, that could potentially help remove some characters. Doesn't look that way. Hector does look like choosing to target.
He's just going to keep taking the 2 lore off. Anything with 2 lore needs to just go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so patience, I think, is the key here for sure, Gabe. I mean, you see your opponent get to 10. It's very, an amateur, not amateur rather, but somebody who's newer to the deck might start to get a little weary because, 10 lore seems like a lot. But every good red blue player I've seen has been just able to slow it down, know that it's not over till they're at 20. And, even I've seen games where they go to 19 and then red blue just winds it back. But we see Baby go all the way up to 15. So she is getting we know there's a be prepared in Hector's hand. So he will be able to kind of reset the board here. However, it's going to still be quite an uphill battle for Hector here to stop Baby from getting that last 5 lore.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I mean, it's such a scary thing to do. You got the Half Shark. Now, I mean, the Half Shark is wanting you to do this. Half Shark is just so excited for you to quest with your characters, choosing to target the Rapunzel, getting rid of another 2 lore quester,
of course,
bringing back the Brawl, which will then create more answers for Hector. This is
recycling. Brawl is very, very strong in this matchup, and it's going to continue to chip and give him lore here as he decides on whether or not he's going to. So he's not even worried about the beat prep here. Like I said, he's playing the patience game. He thinks he still has enough time here to stay alive and just keep picking off these threats here.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, now Hector hasn't done all that he can do to Beefybaby's board here. Beefybaby is still.
We know that Brawl's definitely going to find a target here.
Range. It will, but still, I mean, even if we take out, there you go. Okay, so we take out the
maybe Brawl the Lady.
Yeah, Brawl the Lady. Exactly. Okay, so we're still able to get to 17 if we decide to quest. If we're Beefybaby,
for sure,
we have to, of course, think about what's in Hector's discard, because questing is effectively giving Hector a free board wipe without having to waste the be prepared.
Yep.
Because the Brawl is sitting right there just staring at Hector.
Yep. So Beefybaby gets it back, and she's going to get to go to 18 here, and
Yeah.
it gets a little dicey if Donald comes down here. I mean, she could even double Donald. I don't think does she have the ink for it. No, she doesn't. I was going to say a double Donald would do it here, but we are going to see
Okay.
another
First
Merfolk come
Merfolk,
down.
right?
Okay, that's a good threat. We see Cloud Kicker in the hand,
Yeah.
who just doesn't have a target, unfortunately. But we want to just
Yeah.
want to play it down. You know, Beefy obviously not knowing that there's a be prepared imminent.
Yeah.
But at this point, you just got to have it, right? You're at 17.
Yeah. Although I mean, there's another camp here. So currently, Beefybaby, had she not quested, she would have had five lore worth of characters down.
Sure.
Could have said go, and then forced a be prepared in that moment,
Sure.
or other answers. But there's also the train of thought you're going through, which is like, well, it's Ruby Sapphire,
Right.
of course he's got answers. Let's just get the points.
Let's just try to get the lore, because if he does decide to be prepared here, you lose out on that lore that you didn't quest with. So you could advocate for both. I mean, obviously now Shark is going to get to attack and get back brawl, so it's going to be a vicious cycle here. But I think you're between a rock and a hard place, right? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of thing,
absolutely.
So but I understand Beefybaby here just deciding to
absolutely
try to just hit the gas here and see what she can do with it.
Yeah. I mean, you've got 4 characters down. Even if Hector brings back the brawl, is able to take out the cursed merfolk with that, and then target with his 2 characters the other 2 that are tapped currently. I mean, it's a rougher spot to be in, but
for sure.
Yeah.
So Baby now, at the mercy of whether or not Hector can deal with this here, and Hector deep in the tank here, because as good as Red Blue is, when your opponent's at 17, you have to address it. And we know Hector's had multiple turns here to be prep. I'm assuming he didn't want to forfeit the Shark. He wanted to just keep it around as long as possible. But it's getting to a point now where it's going to get a little dicey. He will be able to clean up most of the board here, if not all of it. But 17 is just such a close number. If he kills, or excuse me, banishes 3 of these characters here, she can still top deck a Donald and get into 18. So it's or to 19, excuse me. So it's gonna be a tight race here as Hector tries to put the turn together here. I think he's figured it out. So all right, we're gonna go into the Ursula. So we're gonna go ahead and get an action back.
Yep. And so we see more options. Hector providing more options here.
Yep. He's reaching in. Let's see. He decides to go with the Sail. Interesting. He wants to draw some more cards here.
Yeah.
And then let's see if he chooses it. Oh, he's using it as ink. Okay. I see. Maybe he's worried about his inks. He doesn't want to ink the cards he has in his hand. I like that.
Yeah, which, I mean, why would you? You've got the gas in your hands. You keep the gas. You
absolutely. Great heads up play from Hector. Some people might have looked for something different there as he takes out. Okay, interesting. Well, he didn't choose the Merfolk. Does he have the Sisu? Yeah, he does have the Sisu. Yeah,
yep,
I knew
absolutely.
Hector. So he just takes.
Don't you ever question the final boss again? Okay?
Hector. Sometimes I wonder about that guy. So
no, Hector is the final boss here at SSG. We call him the final boss.
Yeah, you call him the final boss.
Well, you call him the final boss too. You better call him that, or he'll come after you.
No, Hector, great friend of ours.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Obviously we were rooting for Baby here for obvious reasons, but Hector, obviously an incredible player. So he does put the pieces together here, manages to clean up, and now comes to the point where he's in the driver's seat. Right now, he just kind of makes sure every turn that he has the way to deal with something, and he should be able to quickly quest up the ladder here and get to 20. So Baby's going to need to draw something good here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hope here for the old Chernabog.
Okay.
We do see Lilo come from the discard pile. We see questing with that lady.
Lilo's tough though, because although she is adding 2 lore to the table, she just keeps presenting shark food. This shark's going to keep coming in, keep picking up brawl, and it's essentially just giving more and more ways for Hector to remove other characters in play. So as much as Lilo seems like a great idea, because of her lore threat, it is kind of a double-edged sword here against this shark.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's one of the biggest things about that half shark. Just giving that shark the food to it's such a detriment. Like, it just puts you back so far. And we're seeing Hector slowly picking away at that board state of hers.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Like I said, Lilo is going to keep being shark food here, and we saw him choose instead to go for the lady. I'm guessing he has the answer for Lilo already, or he's going to just attack into it.
Yep.
So, all right, and Hector taking a look into the future here as he Well, that was a quick pick. I didn't see what it was, but there wasn't much thought there. So much it must have been a quitty, maybe a giant Sisu or something to close out the game a little faster. We shall see. All right, so all right, and baby down to an empty board yet again. We get a nice good look at those beautiful new play mats. Since Hector's covering it all up at the moment with a bunch of stuff, and there comes the Pirate's Life. And it's going to start to get real unfortunate, or real unfortunate,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. The Pirate's Life, pretty much once that lock starts, it's incredibly hard for any aggro deck to slip through that.
I mean, like the philosophy here, Ruby Sapphire is simple. You bleed for a long time until you stabilize the board, and it's very, very clear at this point. Hector is stabilized. I mean,
absolutely. The machine is running.
The machine, it's not just running. It's a million miles away at this point.
You know, back in the day, you know, back in my Lorcana day, you could discard an action, right? And it was, you know, we're safe. But
no,
we're living in a world now full of sharks that are just able to grab this card over and over and over, and it just makes it impossible for your opponent to claw out.
It is a half shark world, and we're just living in it.
That's it,
essentially.
Absolutely. As we add 2 sapphire coils, just why not? You know, I don't foresee them being incredibly useful here, but you know, and funny, we haven't seen a Hiram. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed that in both games.
Yeah,
in fact.
We haven't seen a single Hiram. Hector down to 1 card in hand. Thankfully, he's been able to, you know, find everything he needs here pretty efficiently. Yeah. But just Hector, interesting not to see Hiram drawn in any of these games.
Yeah, I mean, Hector's been utilizing just the digging, and there's the hand extension.
Good sportsmanship from Hector. Absolutely. And baby, we love to see it. And congratulations to Hector on scooping up a quick game 1 here. We do have another table going on right now with Jack, aka Ghosty, who is actually the innovator behind this China Dog list. And I don't know if we're going to cut over to him in a moment. He's on a separate table. I guess with the powers that be will let us know here whether or not we can get over there and check it out.
Absolutely, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. So from one China Dog deck to the other, and as we know, Jack has that dog in him.
Absolutely, and when we're putting together these matchups today, guys, we're trying to add as much variety as we can. I think we all know as the day progresses that our matchups are going to slim down to maybe just a couple colors. So, you know, we want to go ahead and start the broadcast nice, give you guys some variety today, and show you guys some cool decks before we inevitably get to the nitty gritty, if you will.
Right. I will gritty for you on camera if it gets to it, if we need to.
I would love to see that. Hopefully we could sneak that in later into our broadcast.
Absolutely, you got it.
I appreciate it. So we're in between while we wait here. Again, thank you guys, those of you who are just joining us, to the 15 case event here at Southside Gaming in Margate, Florida. Yeah. I'm one of your commentators for the day, Mike Skinner, and I'm joined by the beautiful Gabe. I don't know your last name, Gabe.
I'm like Cher. It's just Gabe. No, I'm kidding.
It's just Gabe. Okay. It's very nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to expose your government name here, but I felt weird saying Mike Skinner and then just Gabe, you know.
Fair enough. It's Hernandez, by the way. For those of you that
Gabe
know.
Hernandez.
Yeah,
well, there you go. We'll just call you Gabe though.
That's what I'm saying. It's too long. It's not cute. It's like Lady Gaga. It's like I need like a cool name like Lady Gaga.
Okay.
Or Madonna or Cher.
I could call you Lady Gaga if that's what you
I kind of Lady Gaga's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. Actually. That's pretty cool.
Maybe because you're Baba Yaga. So maybe call you Lady Yaga.
We've rebranded since then. I'm more like Prince then, because I'm like the artist formerly known as Baba Yaga, currently known as Illogic. Yeah, I've gone through a few name changes here.
Well, if this is your first time here, get ready for some very unhinged commentary from Gabe and I, which slowly goes off the rails as the day progresses. But so far, we're caffeinated and ready to go. Absolutely. And we definitely have some amazing guests joining us today in the booth. We have Liam from the Illuminateers in the house, as well as Dan from the Forbidden Mountains. So a lot of familiar faces and voices that you'll get to hear today on the broadcast. So really, really happy for them to join us. They're always welcome here, and we love them very much. And for those of you hanging out in the chat, I see a lot of familiar faces, some new faces. So welcome, and welcome to an SSG coverage. Hope you guys enjoy your time here today as we kind of, I guess we're waiting for round 2. I guess we're not maybe round. I know Chernadog does go pretty quick, so it's possible that Jack did already finish his match, and that's why we haven't cut over to that table.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I believe we are. Oh, there you go. So Hector. A little bit of facts about Hector. So he did win the CCS 13K very recently. So congratulations to Hector. Very wonderful achievement there. He's made top cut in tons of SSG events. top 16 in Dallas, so he was national qualified, and he did go to nationals.
Yep.
And top 64 in the Toronto DLC. So you know, a lot of things to be proud of here for Hector. He's a great friend of ours here, and you know, he's making his name very well known in the Lorcana community as he continues to just perform well everywhere he goes.
Absolutely, and again, we're very proud of Hector as a result of his victory over at the Charlie's Collectible Show. Just a very very heartfelt. There's pictures out there of the entire team just gathered around that table as they're watching that final match,
For sure.
and just like the emotions that were felt on that day, it was just next level.
Absolutely. If you haven't been to SSG, they're big on family here, and you know, we really do. Although we just commentate here for them, we're not technically employees of SSG. I mean, we call ourselves SSG because it really is a family down here, and we love being part of it. So Hector, you know, popularizing or repopularizing, should I say, the Maui Shark. Some people kind of had lost favor of it a little bit. They were going more towards the Tamatoa, like 8-drop, you know, Lucky Dime, that whole thing. And I'm sure we will see some of that today. But Hector just deciding to drop that all together and just go with Maui Half Shark, which, as you see, can just be quite a powerhouse by itself. I know DKP popularized a list very similar to this as well with Maui Sharks, and Hector just feeling that it's the better option here as he continues to bring it out and perform well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because it's like a resurgence, but it's not, because to your point, the version that we had prior to DKP's version was one that really blended those ideas, like the items, the shark, the Lucky Dime. Some people said, well, you know what, I don't need Lucky Dime, I'm going to put in a McDuck Manor.
Sure.
And so there was like this weird amalgamation of this like shark deck. So thinking that was the best deck in format last set, and now what we're seeing is that Hector said, hey, you know what if we like focused on one thing?
Right.
What if we just like did the shark thing and just play the actions? And what we're seeing is like the sharpening of what we already thought was the best deck in format, and realizing, man, did we miss out in a world where last set we could have just had an all item shark deck, and was there really more room to grow there?
We didn't have Sapphire Core, right? So that's a big new one, a big new weapon that we got here that you know, Hector obviously is choosing to use in the deck. And obviously 6-drop Tamatoa, you know, we didn't get to see him do anything. I don't believe he even played him this game, but definitely a huge card for this meta.